Last week, Google announced Gemini 1.5, which is the latest generative AI model. And what makes this Gemini 1.5 unique from the existing one like ChatGPT or even Gemini 1.0 is that this model can support up to 1 million token context window, which is a big jump from a usual 128k token. So what this means is that this model can process a large amount of data, and according to Google, it can process 11 hours of audio file and 330k plus line of code, which to me is such a crazy big amount. But what even crazier is that it it can also support processing video file, which is a feature that you don't get even in like ChatGPT, right? You cannot send a video to process it. So for example, we can give it a movie and then we can ask question like, what are the critical plot points in this movie? What is the main character motivation? Even stuff like list the number of character that cry in this movie, for example. So this is really amazing to me, and luckily I got a chance to try it out. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the experiment that I did, and let's see together how powerful this Gemini 1.5 model actually is. So let's take a look at the first one that I have here. Now for the first one, I have uploaded a movie about a superhero character that can transform into a werewolf. Now the movie is almost an hour long, but however the resolution of the video is in 480p quality for now, because when I try to upload 720p HD video, it exceeds the 1 million token limit, so I couldn't do that. So I'm tested with only 480p video here. And just by doing this, you can see that the movie is of took around 860k token out of 1 million limit. So my first question here was just to see if it can summarize the movie well enough, and boy, it did. The summary has enough just for you to understand the plot of the movie without going too into details or without also being too abstract, which is just like a nice amount of summary for me. So the second one here is just around to see if you can understand where the main character appear. So when I asked this question, it actually got confused with another character and made a mistake here. So I told the model, hey, you're wrong, and I correct it. And it actually took my correction into consideration, but I didn't really believe it. So I asked the model again, just to see if it actually self-correct itself. And it did actually, and it passed the test with flying color, because it now points to the correct scene, and it also described the scene very well. For me, it felt natural to read, and also it evoked like kind of like an emotion, especially fear, the way it described the eye being red, and it's just amazing to read, I feel like. So the third one is to see if it can understand what actually happened in a specific timestamp. So I added a query to describe a scene during a particular time frame, and you can see the result here that the model understands the timestamp context very well, because it described the particular scene that I am also mentioning in this timestamp here. So lastly, I asked it to break down the movie into 3 arcs, and the model did it very well again. It was able to process and understand the different plot of the movie and how the story progressed throughout these 3 arcs in this movie. So this is really cool to see just how far we are advanced in terms of our AI technology. I believe that we are already using ChatGPT in our daily life. Now, the ability to process video is gonna take it to another level. So what I can think of is like you can take a video of your workout and you can ask it for how you can improve your form or how you can improve your workout schedule, and you could put in a cooking video and then ask it to describe the recipe of the food and list out the ingredient. So all of these things are just one out of many examples, right? And here is a real world example that someone tested out. So the person here took a video of their bookshelf and then asked you to write down the book name and the author in a JSON format that is ready for you to copy and paste. And if you think this video processing is amazing, give me a second. I'm going to show you another experiment that I did around coding this time. So let's take a look at the coding test. I have uploaded the source code of the entire open source app that I made for build monitoring. If you want to check out this project, I will put the link to the description below, and you can go and check it out and see for yourself. So just like before, I asked a summary of what the code is about, and surely enough, it listed out the function accurately. along with some other details on where you can get the app, what's the license of the software, and so on. So I follow up on this. I asked the tech step of the software, and it got almost all of it right, except that it got the database library wrong. I do not use Room, and I use SQLite in my software. So I told the model, hey, you got it wrong. Can you give me a correct one? And it got right in the second time. But what I really love here is that it also gives you a guide on where you can find the related file. So I think this is very useful, especially if you are someone new to the code base or a junior. The the guide like this, it can give you a starting point to start looking at the code. But this next one absolutely blew my mind away. So I pretend like I'm new to the code base. So I ask a question like I want to understand the code better. So I ask, can you give me the flow of the data or it goes in the software on how it stores the project information? And this is really amazing. It get right down to details like where it fetched the data, how the data is fetched, how it is synchronized, which file or library is used for storing the data, and how the UI state is stored, and how the state is exposed to use for UI layer. It even provided the nice detailed UI flow down to the individual component level, which to me is just really amazing and really detailed. Similarly, I asked another question, the same thing around synchronization mechanism, and it also understood this part of the code very well, and it can give me a detailed answer, including the limitation imposed by the system. Now, I'm a big preacher of test-driven development, so naturally, I asked it to generate some unit tests for the code, and to me, the answer wasn't really satisfying because it's using like mock for very simple code. So I asked it again to use fake instead of mock, just to see that if the model understands the difference between what a classes is testing versus the mock is testing. And to my surprise, it understood the assignment very well, and it generated a fake class for the repository, although it kind of forgot to override the sum function in here. But to me, just the ability that it understands the difference between two type of test-driven development and how they are written is such a huge win. So the last one I did was to see if it can create new ideas based on the information that I give to the model. So I asked for some feature suggestion. Some of the suggestions that it give are technically impossible because I use CC tray, which is a standard format to get the build status from your build monitoring pipelines. Standard has nothing to do with stuff like build logs or build trigger. So even though it's a nice suggestion, I can't really implement it unless the standard support it. But however, I really love the suggestion around here around filtering, tagging, and searching project. I love it so much that maybe I might just add them to the feature to the app in a few weeks. I'll let you know. So this coding analysis experiment is actually run on a very small application, like compared to what you would normally see in an enterprise. But bear in mind that even the entire source code of this software took only around 74K token. So theoretically, you should be able to upload 10 times larger project and ask a question around that code base. But anyhow, this is the test that I did. Hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of Gemini 1.5. And if you have anything that you're going to try it out before my early access expire, leave it in the comment below, and see you in the next video.